Hello and thank you for downloading the second of our Max Fun Drive episodes, Batman vs. Superman with Travis McElroy and Ben Blacker. This is a really, really fun episode. And if you haven't taken a moment yet to check out Max Fun Drive, I encourage you to go to social media, look at hashtag Max Fun Drive. You'll see all the different show hosts interacting with you, thanking you for your donations. And if you haven't done it yet, just go to MaximumFun.org/donate to set up your recurring monthly donation. And don't forget to select the podcast that you listen to so they can benefit directly from your donation. And now, without any further ado, here is episode 56 of We Got This with Mark and Hal.
Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all, Batman versus Superman.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcasts should have a theme song. Podcasts should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Hi, everybody.
Well, you always sometimes you I'm not going to say always, but sometimes you begin like a serial killer.
I don't.
Yeah. You just lean into the mic and went, hi, everybody. You're either a serial killer or you're Wayne Dyer right now.
You'll never know.
All right.
My secret.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you for listening to We Got This. I am Mark. This is Hal.
Hi.
Should we just start over?
No.
What is going on?
I'm trying out some new voices. I'm trying to workshop some stuff.
This isn't your I have an audition in the morning voice lab.
This is Hal Lublin slating for podcast host. Guys, you know that laugh.
Oh my gosh, did you hear those other people laughing?
You heard that laugh.
You know that laugh.
You know that laugh.
That
You're a
laugh
maximum
is,
listener.
of course, Maximum Fun superstar Travis McElroy.
Hello.
And we have a returning guest and a dear friend of ours that we've known for a very long time, co-creator of the thrilling adventure. Are you doing that Hal voice? Is that what that was?
Come on. Hi, Ben.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
There it is. Ben Blacker.
Ben Blacker.
Hi,
I'm
Ben.
a darling of the Nerdist Network. I
Yes.
prefer to be known
Darling of the Nerdist Network.
I prefer podcast powerhouse.
Oh, wow.
I like the alliteration.
That sounds like a drinking game.
Yeah, also
You want to do a podcast powerhouse?
Listen, you don't. Trust me, you'll end up with 8 shows. It'll drive you crazy.
Well, this is a very special. This is the second of our Max Fun Drive episodes.
Yes.
And the reason why we want to release it this week is because Batman vs. Superman is coming to films, and I got a text from Ben Blacker, or he told me in person. I can't remember the full story.
I told you in person.
You told me in person.
The 21st century, it all blends together.
I wrote LOL. You said
I sent you a text.
you sent me a text that said, I want to do Batman vs. Superman. And you wanted to argue for Batman.
Obviously.
And I, in trying to figure out someone who was on the Superman side, I decided to
You
send...
took 9 months.
I did this all through text, and I sent a text to my good friend Travis McElroy, and just simply asked him who would win in a fight, Superman or Batman, which you answered.
Superman, he's a god among men.
And that is how it happens. The next thing was he was booked, and now here the four of us are. We're going to hash out, before you go see the movie.
That was some inside podcasting.
Yeah, this is how it happens.
That's how the sausage gets made right there.
Can I tell you what I love about Ben Blacker is it's not I want to come on this show and figure it out. It's I have chosen a side. I am coming on here to defend my side.
Yeah.
The answer just seems so obvious to me.
Right.
Hold on.
Guys agree.
Look, okay, I'm going to say this once at the beginning of this and not say it again. As a Batman.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
All right.
I was going to throw it to you. I was absolutely going to bring it up. Because my argument rests on one thing. Do you have more to say, Hal, or can I get into it?
Well, we'll talk about some criteria, but go ahead and get into Batman versus Superman.
First of all, it's this. It's not who would win in a fight.
That was what we were talking about on the way over here.
Yes.
Now,
I don't
hang on.
care what you were talking about, not on microphones.
Oh,
Let's
wow. Getting heated very quickly.
Yeah.
0
But
to 60.
It's not who would win in a fight. That is not what this show does.
No.
That is not the domain of We Have This with Mark and Craig. Who?
You wish it was with Mark and Craig.
Well, I do wish.
Did you say that just because after that was 10 years of pent up people calling it, I want to go see the thrilling suspense show. That was you paying it forward like an abusive dad.
Don't forget who made you.
Oh God.
But that is not the domain of this show. That is the domain of Friday Fights with Stephen Colbert.
Yes.
The domain of the show is basically which is better.
Yes.
Right? And so it's not about who would win in a fight. Now, my entire argument can be summed up thusly. Mark Agliari.
Yes.
You are a Batman.
Yes, I have done the voice of Batman.
What does a Batman sound like?
A Batman sounds like this.
What does Batman sound like?
Yeah, that's how Batman.
What does Batman
a
sound
Batman
like?
sounds like this.
Hey Hal, what's your Batman?
Batman sounds like this.
Now, yeah. Now everyone do your Superman.
A Superman is this.
Superman!
It's up in the sky.
Superman.
No, a Superman is... Okay, hold on. I see your
A
point.
Superman sounds like a 1940s announcer.
Yeah, I will cede your point that a Batman has a much more distinct, much more recognizable voice. But there is a Superman voice. You puff out your chest and you stand up very straight and you stand for truth, justice, and the American way.
You mean Dudley Do-Right?
I was actually doing more Sam the Eagle, I think, there at the end. But
Batman will never be confused with any other hero because he is the best defined hero.
okay, I will give you that. When you talk origin
I'm
story,
through here.
but I think really looking at the two of them, so we can find some common ground. I think that they stand among a group that has such clearly defined origin stories that I think like Batman, Superman, and like probably Spider-Man at this point, you could say like, how do they become them? That everyone would be like, oh, Batman's parents get killed. Superman gets shot from his planet and lands on Earth and is raised by Mom and Pa Kent. Spider-Man gets bit by a radioactive spider and then Uncle Ben dies. And there's something inherent, I think, about all three of those. And we'll kick Spider-Man out here in a second. But get out of here, Spider-Man. There's something about all three of
Let's talk
those.
about Spider-Man for a second when you're done.
But I think there's something about all three of those that you hear that and you're like, I get from like a 2-sentence description what this character
You get,
is.
but not in the case of Superman is it relatable, really.
Well,
I don't know that that's true.
Okay, what is the relatability of, I guess, the idea of an outsider?
It's a classic immigrant story.
Well,
It is.
alright.
No,
I mean,
he-
it's a classic immigrant. story.
Ben is right.
But an immigrant who can fly.
Sure.
And has-
I'm sorry.
X-rated.
But Mark, let me put it this way. An immigrant who comes in with a certain set of skills and he's not immediately welcomed because he's different. So even though he could improve everything because he's coming in with a different perspective, a different set of skills, I say that's a very immigrant story until eventually everyone learns to accept them and goes, oh, you can improve
Did we
things.
just make Superman the underdog with the immigrant story
Yes.
versus
Yes, we
the
did.
Batman who is the child of
Rich people? Of super rich people?
Point of order.
I have a raised hand from Mr. Blacker. Yes, you have the floor.
In what Superman story is he not immediately beloved?
Well, it's not that he's not immediately beloved. I think it's more of a case of having to hide who he is. You know?
I think
in the
that's
Superman
my choice.
movie, those other kids were real mean to him until he ran and beat them.
That's also
in
true.
their car.
That's true.
Oh man, it's the one good moment of Man of Steel. Yeah, I said it. Where, he's like in the closet because like his super hearing is kicked in and like Ma Kent is like having to talk him down. That was the one moment where I was like, oh, this is the one moment in this movie that I think grasped like probably what it was like for like young Clark Kent of like,
In real
what
life.
is going on
Yeah.
right now? But like you really
Yeah.
see that dealt with of like puberty plus also I can hear a
Right.
pin drop 5 miles away.
And if I want to look through a girl's blouse, I can.
Yeah,
Her
and
blouse
then
is-
also her bones.
and also her bones. Yeah.
Now, but I mean, you just to go back to something that you actually said that was a coherent sentence.
Thank you. I get 1 in 10, maybe, if I'm lucky.
It's never been this combative. You said that he has to have a secret identity. Clark Kent is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
He does not have to have a secret identity. He
True.
could be Superman full time.
He could be
Clark
running
Kent all
the
time.
planet.
Well, and that's where I think the input of Ma and Pa Kent. There's a great Stan Lee does like versions of I want to say it was like in the late 90s where he did versions of it, and his version of Superman arrives full adult and is like full-time superhero and has like an agent and does everything and like he's booked to do it and like he's completely a narcissist and like has no empathy, doesn't care about anybody. And it's like that's what Superman is without Ma and Pa
Well,
Kent.
listen, if we're arguing who are the better parents, the Kents beat the Waynes.
But if you're
Pretty good
arguing
point.
who's the better parental figure, is Pa Kent, Ma Kent, or Alfred?
Oh, it's Alfred. I will give you that.
As a
Yeah.
parent figure.
Well, here's the other thing, though. When you talk about relatability, to me, Superman
we're not.
is more relatable.
No one's
No,
talking
we are
about
going to talk about it. And Spider-Man, get out of here. It is enough. You had your time.
I know we've launched into this, but I don't mean to interrupt, but I am going to. If
Goodness, Mark.
you mentioned relatability, we never we just sort of launched in. We didn't set down
Yes.
what are our criteria that we are
I
looking
assumed
at.
Hal would have
Yes.
this.
So let's
so
talk
how-
about it. We've got
But Travis and I
relatability.
had so much to say.
I know.
I didn't even talk about the Superman ring that I wore for like a decade. I got it at the Warner Brothers store.
You got it at the Warner Brothers store.
And I lost it and replaced it 3 different times.
Wow.
I was committed to the Superman ring lifestyle.
Wow. That is a lifestyle.
Yeah, it was. I had tan lines.
Do you have Superman tattoos anywhere?
I don't. It's the one tattoo I haven't committed to yet.
Maybe next year? Who knows?
If we get 10,000 listeners
Yeah.
on Max Fun.
So, all right,
But
let's...
you'll get the Shaquille O'Neal Superman
Yeah. Oh,
tattoo.
definitely.
Yeah, the steel tattoo that all the kids are
All the
going
rage.
crazy for. It's on Fleek, kids. Look it up.
Is that a network?
Yes. Only on
Right next to
fleek.org.
Pivot.
So
Great.
let's
That
break
was
it down.
on Pivot.
We're talking about relatability right now, so we'll stick with that. Relatability. We've
Can
got
I hear all your categories?
yes, we've got cultural impact.
Done.
Okay.
I win.
No, hold on.
We've
Okay,
got
we'll get to it.
We've got quality of representation in media.
Batman.
So we'll go by quality of television shows and films. Let's calm down. You stop saying Batman. And
Can't stop saying
Superman
Batman.
he's gonna have his moment, Ben. You're gonna have to allow it to happen.
Ben Acker, my writing partner, Ben Acker, creators of the Thrilling Adventure app.
Oh,
and
name
I
drop.
were in college with you, Hal.
Yes.
But we didn't hang out with you.
Nope.
Well, because many reasons.
I was that kid.
We had a saying that was, "That's so Batman," where Batman was interchangeable with cool.
Well, that's pretty bad,
Well,
man, I
yeah.
guess.
That's
Pretty bad.
And if somebody
Yeah,
says
that's
something, it's,
really
well,
bad.
that's super, man. There's a comma in the middle of it, and it's said by a nerd.
yeah, exactly. So
Not like "That's so Batman."
Not like
that's not
yeah.
said by a nerd.
No, that's not said by nerds. That's so Batman is said by cool nerds.
and how about this?
Alarmed by that.
Let's also we'll if we need a tiebreaker, if we really can't decide, I think the tiebreaker will be Rogues Gallery. So let's say that. Nobody
Okay.
say anything about Rogues
Okay.
Gallery.
Okay.
Nobody say anything.
Batman's Rogues
let me
Gallery.
talk about. I just want to say I think that I find Superman more relatable than Batman, and here's why. I get that Batman is a person like you or me, or you
You're
or you.
really selling that you're a person.
Or you, Spider-Man. Get out of here,
Get out of here,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
3 times. Ring a bell. I don't
No.
know if that's not a thing.
I'm not convinced you're a person.
Here's
based
why.
on the way you said that.
Let me rewire my small wonder panel.
We are all just human.
You know how we eat food.
Yes. How we are
If you
breathing.
lick us, do we not? What is it? Leak? Yes.
Line. I think that Batman is a guy who certainly is flawed, but everything, he has so much money. He can buy whatever he wants,
you see, that's why
whenever he wants. That's we are here. Why are all these chairs covered in bearskin rugs, Ben? It just seems like an odd choice for your
They're
home.
also under the chairs.
Oh my goodness!
Look around.
This is
Good
what happens.
space work now.
The country bear
Even the microphone's
jamborees.
a bear.
No, I
Look again.
I think it's interesting that you relate more to Superman, and it is unsurprising given your morals and physique.
Yes.
But which Batman are you talking about? You know, there are variations.
Is there
True,
a
but
poor Batman?
also, what Superman are you talking about?
Just
Right.
the Superman.
But here's the thing. When Superman started, this is my favorite thing, like that people nowadays who know Superman don't think about. That when he started, the faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings, that was the parameters of his power.
He could not fly.
Yeah.
He could leap tall
building.
buildings.
And he was as fast as a speeding bullet.
Yeah.
And he could stop a locomotive. There was none of this like fly around the world and spin it backward. He was much more relatable at that point because he was just like what everyone wished they could be to stop the evil in the world. I think that's the difference between Batman and Superman to me, is that Superman is what we want to be and Batman is what we fear we might have to become.
It sounds like you're calling him the Ubermensch.
I mean, I didn't say those words.
This took a turn.
It really did.
But that is what is this. There's actually a great play about it that I'm racking my brain trying to
Man
remember.
and Superman.
George Bernard Shaw.
No. It's about
Jinx, you owe me a play.
Jerry. It's about Jerry
Hamilton.
It's called Hamilton. It's about Jerry Siegel, and it kind of parallels both his creation of Superman, him and Joe Shuster, creation of Superman, and like Superman. So it's like Superman's a character in it who interacts with Siegel, but it's kind of about why Siegel made him the way that he was, that it was like everything that Siegel wished he was Superman. But I think I'm gonna kind of debate against myself and say that I actually think Batman is more relatable because Batman represents what we could, like, you look at him as a kid and you're like, if I really buckled down and like studied karate and worked out and invested wisely, I could be Batman. Yeah, you could never be Superman, but I think that's what makes him the better hero for me is the only thing stopping me from being Superman is that I'm not Superman. And like that to me, like he's...
Does that make you lazy though? Like, is it like...
No, I'm lazy because I'm not Batman. That's my point, is I could be Batman were I not so cripplingly lazy.
Right. Because I mean, that Superman argument seems defeatist and destined for Netflix.
It really lets me off the hook.
Oh man, if only I was Superman, I would save the world. But I'm not. So Kimmy Schmidt is on, like...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Batman, hero. Superman, superhero.
Right.
He's more than whatever I could ever be.
Mm-hmm.
So,
using super in the correct way.
Yeah, indeed. He's more than. He's a superhero. Is that correct? Anyways. But
all right, so relatability.
So it sounds like the three of you are you split as well towards...
I tend to lean with you, Hal, on the relatability, not because, yes, Batman is human and it's more relatable. It's easier to relate to a human, but I'm looking back at the Superman of the Smallville years, and it is that, like, I can't really relate to the kid who just, or the dark, brooding guy who, I'm like, why are you so angry? You got everything you want in the world. I mean, except parents, whatever.
You could buy parents.
Yeah, exactly.
You're so rich.
That's the core of the character.
Look, have you not seen the toys?
I guess for me, I find fighting injustice. I find fighting injustice for the sake of fighting injustice more warm, fuzzy, relatable than fighting injustice for the sake of revenge.
Yeah.
Well, it's an ideal versus an idea.
Right.
It's like we said, Batman is an idea. It's something we can wrap our heads around and something we could conceivably become. Nobody at this table, but a human could conceivably.
Well, if I really buckle there.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not willing to count myself out yet.
Get that.
What are you, 31? You'll be fine.
I'm 21.
Listen,
oh God, I look terrible.
Get your Ameritrade account together. Really
That's
makes it. Yeah, that's all you need is a
Just follow that
tumbler.
green line on the ground from the commercials. Right?
to go back to my initial question
Yeah.
to you, Hal, is, when we talk about Batman, I think we've seen a lot of different Batmans. And Superman, in the way that he's an ideal, he is also, there's a common conception of the character in the way that there is of Mickey Mouse.
Except for that weird 2-year period where he was both a blue electric bolt and a red electric bolt. Other than that, though.
And grew his hair really long and was going to be
God.
played by Nicolas Cage.
Oh, and had a crazy wallet.
And a steel.
Well,
A
Well, the steel
human.
was a whole
and
weird
I
thing.
think,
Yeah,
I
with a
think
hammer.
that's actually a good point. Is like that Nicolas Cage movie, which never was seen or never was made, that would have been a different kind of Superman. But that kind of Superman
Doesn't
has
get
never
off the
really
ground.
been
Yeah.
made. Yeah.
You couldn't make a gritty Superman.
No. And so when we talk about Batman and relatability, for me, it goes back to Michael Keaton, to Tim Burton's Batman. And that Michael Keaton Batman was a guy. It was a very, in large part because he's Michael Keaton, he's a very relatable guy. He had a sense of humor. He was weird.
And he played the whole rich thing very awkward.
Absolutely.
That's what
never a
sold
good
me
fit.
on that character, because I can't
The
remember how
which thing?
But that he was very awkward about the size of the table and I own all of this.
The giant table with Vicky Vale is the most charming scene in that movie.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I actually liked Christian Bale's take on Bruce Wayne better because it was more of a secret identity than than I thought Michael Keaton's was. But I like Keaton's. like as a guy,
Yes.
I liked his Bruce Wayne better.
And I think,
more duality there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it leans into that idea that Bruce Wayne is the mask, right?
Yeah.
You know what?
I'm sick of hearing about it.
As we talk about it, I was sitting here thinking when you were sort of asking me about Batman versus Superman, and I'm sitting here thinking that Batman is, in a way, it's sort of like a Dread Pirate Roberts. There are a lot of people who have been Batman in the comics who have taken over, whether it's his like son or daughter, or Robin has to step in and wear the suit. So that, in that sense, there is that thing of anybody could be Batman. Whereas Superman, the man is actually the symbol. So in that way, I guess I would have to shift and say that Batman is more relatable because it's people rallying behind an idea.
I think there's also something, and this bears saying, especially since we're still sort of at the beginning of this, that where you fall on the Superman-Batman spectrum says so much about you, and we'll just take a quick poll. Bubblegum Pop or the Smiths?
Bubblegum Pop.
Bubblegum Pop.
Bubblegum Pop?
So you're all Superman people.
Yeah.
I'm a Batman person, but I'm a Bubblegum Pop person.
Well, you're also very young.
But I get your point. Like,
No. I mean, I am a Batman person.
Yeah. You're a Batman, capital P person.
I hadn't heard.
But I will also say, like, I think you're right that, like, I love Batman. I love but like, if I'm going to dream of being a hero, it's Superman. Like, I don't want to be the hero that comes in with bruises and, like, broken bones. I want to be the hero that stands there as bullets bounce off his chest and he defends someone. That's the superhero you want to be.
One is about wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But it's also, I mean, Batman is not about wish fulfillment because there's something very satisfying in seeing him beat up bad guys.
But that's actually my big problem, okay, with both, but I think Superman, I forgive it a lot more, is that my dad has written a bunch of comics, and my dad always explained, like, the growth of characters, like, whoever takes over a title always wants to be the guy that, like, redefined what that character is.
Right.
And that's where, like, you see this, suddenly they're strong enough to lift up Mount Rushmore, and it's like, wait, what? No, he could stop a train. Like, that's where we left it, right? We all agreed on that. And now he's fast enough to run around the planet in a second.
You know, I never thought about this because I like this version of Superman that you're describing, this original version.
Yeah.
Because that has been frequently my problem with Superman, is that he is completely untouchable. That there's nothing... If you have a hero that nothing can beat him, he's a demigod or a god, and it's less interesting.
Which I think is why, at least for me, the most interesting Superman was Christopher Reeve's Superman, because he was such a flawed character. Like, he was bumbling and he was weird too.
Right.
He was kind of a dork.
Clark Kent was a goofy dork who could not get laid.
Yeah.
It was great.
Whereas the least interesting Batman seems to be this Ben Affleck Batman.
Yeah.
It's coming. And granted, we don't know anything about this movie, but he seems to be the same sort of idealized figure.
Honestly, when I first saw a trailer for this, I just saw a bit of it in passing. And my first thought, because I didn't see the top of his suit, the first thing I thought was, wow, they really grittied up Iron Man for the Civil War movie. Because all I saw was a flash of gray metal.
I thought it was RoboCop. No joke.
Did you
I thought it
really?
was a RoboCop ad.
But, so as long as we're talking about it, that's why I would say my favorite Batman was Adam West.
That's crazy.
No.
He's a
hear
great
me out.
Batman.
Hear me out.
Great Batman.
Because what they really played up in that was like the detective, and it was a weird detective. It was a 60s version of it, but it was very problem-solving and not like stalking through the shadows.
Yeah, there's a shark on my leg.
Yeah.
Give me the shark repellent. That's great. Problem solved.
It's the thing I love most about the video games too, where it's like so much about detecting,
Right.
And not like
he is a smart guy.
exactly. Like that's supposed to be the thing, is that he's the world's greatest detective,
Right.
Not like he can beat up 40 guys at once.
But it's both. And I think that's what's really interesting about Batman as a character is no matter who is tackling him, and we've seen dozens of great versions of Batman, from Adam West to, Michael Keaton to whatever.
The two greatest as determined by this show,
but like-
Kevin Conroy.
Yes.
Kevin Conroy or the Scott Snyder Batman or the Killing Joke or whatever it is. Like in comics we've seen dozens that any writer, any creator can choose an aspect of this character to play with. With Superman, that's a lot harder to do.
You get two aspects with Superman. You get teenager and you get adult. And like, really, that's the only, you either get Superboy or you get adult.
I think what's been really interesting is seeing writers, and Grant Morrison did this so well, is it's alien or human.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think that's an interesting aspect that hadn't really been played up before.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's Clark Kent or Superman.
And they stripped Superman of his sense of humor in the 90s.
Yeah.
Where it used to be a lot, not necessarily sillier, so much it was just like, what is this crazy thing I've gotten myself into? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where they made it a lot more like bland. Yeah. And it just became a lot more of like, you knew Superman was going to catch Lois Lane. Mm-hmm. You knew he was going to stop Lex Luthor, and there was no sense of fun in it in the 90s until they killed him.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's how it's been up until now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of, outside of the odd comic here and there's not a lot of lightness to that character, which is why my favorite and most relatable super is right now CBS's Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
I love this show mostly because of Supergirl.
Is it because I haven't seen the show? Is it similar to Smallville in that it's like new to the powers, new to? I'm not sure.
No, I never saw Smallville.
All right.
Really? It's really good.
Smallville's great, and I like the young Superman. That is the version that's relatable to me because it's watching someone who doesn't know, and I guess it came on at a time in my life when it's like, no, you're growing up. You don't know where your potential lies. Even though the rest of the world knows who Superman is when he grows up.
You also knew his Clark wasn't pretending.
Right.
Like, that wasn't fake. Like,
no, that
you
wasn't
can feel like it as an adult, but when he's a kid, Clark is Clark. Superman doesn't exist yet. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's really believable that he's awkward around, like, Lana, because it's like, like, he doesn't know what he's doing.
And what I like about this Supergirl TV show is she's not new to powers, but it is asking the question, how do I be a hero? And there's not the foregone conclusion that Smallville had, but the symbol of the S means something.
Okay.
In that world of the show.
This is the world that Superman is already a hero.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's interesting, like, it's an interesting meta story that is a recognizable symbol, both in the world that we live in and on the show, and it means something to the characters.
You know what's funny to me is I grew up as a kid, I read a lot of Silver Age. So I was reading a lot of 50s, 60s, both Batman and Superman.
The worst Batman.
The absolutely the worst, most boring. It's always like, Robin should have gone to the circus. Now the Penguin's got him. Is definitely going to gobble him up.
Batman, Penguin here. I've got Robin. Yeah, do you want him back? Like 6 o'clock? Okay.
No, he came to the circus.
Yeah, he's at the circus. I found him here. Just wandering around by himself. That's what's sick, Batman.
What was the ransom last time? $21.50? $21.75 this time.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. No, I gave him dinner. Okay.
Superman was more centered around goofy stories that, like, here's the red kryptonite and I brought this up in the Marvel vs. DC episode because it's my favorite Superman story.
That's your favorite episode of your podcast?
My favorite episode of my podcast is when he gets exposed to red kryptonite and splits into red Superman and blue Superman.
Yeah.
And essentially all of his problems are solved. Now he can be with Lois Lane and Lana Lang. He can be on a rebuilt Krypton and be on Earth. Like, those were fun stories, but
they were wildly inventive.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Grant Morrison did in his Superman comic.
One of my early introductions to Superman, and a reason that I really like Superman is I had collections of Viewmaster slides.
Oh, yeah.
I did. I had the Superman Viewmaster slides. And so for me, Superman was always, I didn't read it in comic books. It was something that was visual to me, that was sort of engulfed my whole head. And I saw it in 3D, and it's very it's so much. I mean, yes, comic books are visual, but there's something so much more immersive about a Viewmaster.
You just thought Superman was a mute that punched people and burst through walls.
Yeah. And then if you closed one eye, the burst was yellow.
Yeah.
And if you closed the other eye, the burst was red.
No.
But if you had both eyes open, it looked like a big flashy burst.
If I may, I want to get back to Hal's structure here. But,
yes.
But it sounds like we're spending a lot of time justifying why Superman is a good character when Batman clearly needs no justification.
Right, Batman is
we just know.
Batman's the superior character. We can end this here, but let's keep going for Travis.
I think we need to keep going. I think there's more to explore.
Okay, I do. Let me real quick.
Go ahead.
Right,
do it.
Rebuttal. I was addressed, so I get to rebut.
Yes.
I think what it is Batman is like your super fun friend that like everyone loves.
That's what everyone says about him.
He's super fun.
But like at the party, he's the guy that everyone's like, oh, he's here, awesome, fun.
He's the guy.
Superman is the guy who's always going to help you move. He's the guy who's always going to pick you up from the airport. And you really have to justify how funny he is. But like when you think superhero, he's the first one you always think of.
Yeah.
So you have to justify that he's is interesting because they don't write, for someone who is like a god among men, they write him to be so incredibly boring. But I think the potential of Superman is what makes him so great to me. And every so often you see that utilized in such a way where you're like, yeah, that's the Superman I want.
Right. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Before anybody jumps in, I just want to come back to the structure and say on relatability, Batman has won.
Yes.
Before we get into the other areas.
Do we want to go home?
I want to talk for a second.
Half an hour of just relatability. How many did you have? 6?
There are 900 points of compatibility on the eHarmony for superheroes. No, this is Max Fun Drive. This is week 2 of Max Fun Drive.
You guys,
in the middle?
No, this is.
I think it's completely justified. You guys take your time.
Now,
talk about Max Fun Drive.
I want to talk for a second.
This would never happen on Nerdist.
Because so many people have already started to sign up or raise up their recurring monthly donation. It's so easy to do.
And thank you for doing that if you've done that.
This is the best time to do it. The reason is we have all sorts of thank you gifts. There are crazy things happening on social media. Travis here could very well be on his way to getting a new tattoo.
I believe so. I think it might. If we hit that 5,000 new and upgrading donors.
Yeah.
I think get that I got one last year. Might as well get another one.
But pretty soon you're going to be like that TV show that's Memento, but this time it's a lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The one that I thought was a joke billboard for a long time? Yeah, that one.
But it is real.
I did. Because it looked like something that someone would invent in a TV show or in a movie. We're like, I'm in the new tattoo show.
I thought that about Heartbeat when I saw it. I saw the poster, the billboard for Heartbeat, and I was like, oh, are they doing a movie about an actor who has a TV show called Heartbeat? Like, there's no way a girl holding bloody hands in that, like, teenager heart shape in front of her. And the show is, oh, she's a cardiac surgeon, but she needs to work on her own heart.
And I thought you just said heartbeeps, and I'm really disappointed that you didn't.
Andy Kaufman, Bernadette Peters' greatest work.
I know that you know what it is. The point I'm trying to make is
my brain.
It feels good to donate. So many people have been active telling us why they support the network.
What do I get out of it?
I'm going to tell you. At the $5 a month level. Mm-hmm. Very easy entry level. You give that, you get access to bonus content from all of the Max Fun shows.
All of them?
This is a fact.
Even this one?
Yes.
Last time I checked, it's 75 hours of bonus content.
My goodness.
Not an exaggeration.
Which episodes are we dropping as bonus content?
Our episode, should I reveal what it is? I feel like at this point I should reveal.
Week 2.
Should you recline on an airplane, which is not only a hot button topic.
We were so angry about this one.
I was on a flight recently where I sat in a plane with a woman who reclined her seat right into my legs, and I'll tell you guys off the air what I did as revenge. But you can get that episode and another 74 hours of bonus content.
If you do this and you upgrade or join, Hal Loveland will tell you what he did to this person.
I will. At the $10 a month level, you get a custom bandana of your choice representing all of the Max Fun shows. 22 in total. You pick your favorite. My personal favorite is the We Got This bandana, which features iconography from from some of our most famous episodes. There are catchphrases on it. It looks like very much like the bandana I used to wear on my head in high school because I thought it made me look cool.
Did you were you a bandana guy?
I was. Newsflash, did not make me look very Batman.
I really like the Can I Pet Your Dog bandana, the My Brother and Me bandana, the Adventure Zone bandana.
All right, you're on a million
Trends
shows.
Like These bandana, the Bunker Buddies bandana. And I think there's one more.
Is it Schmanners?
Schmanners. Yeah,
yes.
Schmanners bandanas. That's what we were calling them.
Bandanas.
That's right. Let's go up a level, shall we? To the $20 a month level, at which you get I want to say this properly, so I brought the printout of it. This is the Max Fun Adventure Necessity Collection. It's a paracord bracelet. There is toilet paper. There is a multi-tool. And there is hot chocolate. Everything you need to survive in the Wildren, as we've established before.
That's right. It's not the wilds. It's the Wildren.
$20 a month. Then $35 a month. Stainless steel travel thermos. It's got a mug in it. It's going to maintain the temperature of whatever beverage you put in it as if by magic. But there's no wizard. There's just the Max Fun logo on it.
And all that stuff stacks. So if you do the 35, you get the bandana and the kit and the bonus content, everything.
And the toilet paper.
And the toilet paper.
Way,
that's right.
I've listened to a lot of pledge drives because I listen to a lot of NPR, and this is the only pledge drive that is giving you toilet paper.
And it says it's like an adventure kit. It could just be an emergency. We ran out of toilet paper at home.
Yeah.
Kit.
You know what it's going to become for at least one listener who gets it. It's going to be, I got this adventure kit that used to have toilet paper in it until I didn't feel like going to the bodega.
And now I can't have this hot chocolate anymore. If you upgrade your current donation, you can get these great gifts. So don't think that you're left out in the cold. You are not. And don't forget about the challenge donors. Mark, tell them about the challenge donors.
The challenge donors are some really amazing people who have decided that there are currently donors and currently members. They have decided that for every new member that Maximum Fun gets, they will chip in an extra little amount of money per person. So if you join Max Fun, not only are you helping out, you are adding to the pot that is filling up rapidly from our challenge donors, which will eventually spill over into joy and merriment for all.
Okay, so now you're salivating. You're wondering how to donate. You're ready to do it right now. Here's what you do. You go to MaximumFun.org/donate. You choose the level that is comfortable for you. You can see all the different gifts that you get there. You can click boxes that tells the network which shows you listen to, and those are the shows that are going to benefit from your donation. So I would suggest that you check off the box for our show. Maybe a couple of those sweet McElroy boxes need a check too.
There's a lot of them.
That's it. You give your credit card info, you set up your payment, and you're done. It recurs every month. If you need to change your credit card, you can. No big deal. They're there for you. It's that easy to do. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for everybody. Yes.
Is there a maximum amount that I can donate every month?
$1 billion is the maximum per month because of bank size.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just that's FDIC regulation. So now let's get back to Batman, okay?
Let's get back to Batman. And what are our criteria that we are looking at?
Now let's just go into cultural impact, okay? I think this could be an area where Superman actually holds an edge. And here's why. World War II. World War II, right there. Superman becomes sort of
You're thinking of Captain America.
An icon. Well, no. Let me just hear me through. When Superman carried his shield in and fought the Red Skull. After taking that super soldier. Mark, I'm in the middle of the point. When he carried that shield and then later on got frozen in ice and then Ant-Man got him out.
Well,
because of the Submariner.
He did punch out Hitler.
He did.
Yeah.
Same as Captain America did.
Yeah.
That's right.
But at that point, everyone was punching out Hitler. Who wasn't punching out Hitler?
Look, they're also, the Superman radio show, the story, as told on Drunk History.
Yes.
Superman, after World War II, there was a serious decline in membership in the Ku Klux Klan because of the Superman radio program. If you want to hear the whole story, it was a Drunk History story.
Yes.
But that is true that it dropped to near zero, and that was all thanks to Superman.
You know who does a really good job in that, in telling that story? Jason Ritter. Really good job telling that story.
Fantastic.
So good.
Just a champion.
Did he ever play a Superman?
I don't know.
In our hearts.
Should.
I really want to see his new movie, this new 35 millimeter in
sidetracked.
theaters. Have you heard us? We get sidetracked.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Superman. It's ubiquitous. Like the symbol, that S, that's everywhere.
I would say that is true until the mid-70s.
I think it still is like a thing where I think it's lost the connection. But it's still on t-shirts, on trucks. People have it tattooed on
So is the bat symbol though.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think to the same amount.
Ben, are you saying that it
everywhere.
went away in the 70s, or are you saying it got matched or passed by the Batman symbol?
The latter. I think post-Vietnam, we entered a darker age. Post-Nixon, we entered a darker age. We no longer we couldn't hold up this beacon of light and hope. We needed a grittier, darker hero.
So we got Marvel.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of
but I would agree to your point.
Read your history.
I will cede that point for the 70s and 80s, but when you get into the death and resurrection of Superman, I think that it was a huge spike in Superman. Yeah, well, I would say
the Doomsday, late 90s.
The Doomsday, and then that's where you get Steel and Superboy and the Cyborg and the Last Son of Krypton.
And that you're talking about comic books and you're talking about comic book readers, which I was at the time as well, but that's a very small subset.
I think it transcended. The death and rebirth of Superman, I think, was like...
I agree.
As a non-comic book reader, for the most part, I dabbled, but I knew about Death of Superman.
Yeah.
I didn't know much of the rest of what you just said.
Well, the in-between, Death and Rebirth, there was a whole series in the middle that was
Definitely don't have to go into
crazy.
Yeah.
But like, I think that was a huge, the death of Superman was a thing that I think other people have tried to do now, but there's so much multiverse that it's like, who cares if Wolverine dies in this one? There's 26 other ones he's alive.
But yes, you're right. That was on the news. That was a topic of conversation. But it was very quickly eclipsed by whatever the next thing was. And, you know, we're living in a time when we wouldn't have a Superman film if we didn't have 3 Batman
Well,
films.
that's because they kept failing at Superman films.
One has to wonder why.
I think that there has not been a good one since the Donner, Superman.
Sure.
2.
1 and 2.
Yeah, his cut of Superman 2 is pretty great.
But not 3. 3's the one with the robot woman, right?
Well, let's
3 is awesome.
let's not get into the films. 3 is the one with the scary robot woman. It's terrifying.
When she gets sucked into the machine and it's
We don't need to relive it. My goodness. But before we get into that, let's talk.
Richard Pryor.
We're going to get into that. Let's
my
wrap
final
up.
point here
Go ahead,
is,
please.
You know, in the right now, in 2016, my adorable nephew plays with Legos. Kids love him. And he loves Batman. He thinks he is Batman. He's in the Lego movie. Batman has much more of a cultural impact.
currently.
I think we're on a Batman swing. Yeah,
We're on a Batman swing, but I'm going to go with Travis on this one, based on the fact that Superman took down the Ku Klux Klan.
Yep.
I would say since 1989, we have been in a Batman swing.
But I'm saying over time. I'm saying it's Superman. Over time, over the entire...
over the 20th century.
I'm not here to talk about history.
Wait. let me jump in here then. Mm-hmm. And so we've already got a 2-on-1. So I'm either going to tie this or I'm going to swing it back towards Superman.
Come on, Justice Kennedy.
I have to say that for me, Superman stands for truth, justice, and the American way. We all know that. That's become an icon ever since he first raised up that shield and threw it and bounced off the stairs.
And there actually is a great Malcolm comic where he does wield the shield and Thor's hammer. It's super cool, you guys. It's one of the greatest panels.
It's perfect. Yeah. But I think in terms of cultural impact in a larger sense, in 80 plus years now, or almost 80 years of existence, I think Superman's had more time to have a more, he's become more than himself.
He's Mickey Mouse.
Batman is Donald Duck. Everybody loves Donald Duck. He's like the cooler
Batman
choice.
Is not Donald Duck.
Superman is Mickey Mouse. He's the face. Superman is Kermit. You may love other Muppets more, but he's the face of the Muppets. He's the face of Superman is the face of comics in general. I'm totally on board
with this point. I love it.
It sounds like you're denying
Superman takes that.
While you were talking about the global impact, I just want to throw this in. This was a buddy. I was talking to a buddy of mine on the phone, David Berman, multi-time guest on the show.
Yes.
On the way over here, and we got to talking about Batman and Superman, and he goes, "Yeah, Superman. He's Superman from Smallville, who moves to Metropolis." You know what Superman is? He's the comic book for English as a second language.
Yeah.
If you want to teach ESL, use Superman.
Well, this is actually, I was going to mention this earlier. I mean, we're looking at these two characters, and each is the basis for everything that came after.
Right.
For all of there's a reason why the Superman stuff is like the template. It's the blueprint. Mm-hmm. And why the names are all sort of generic.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like everything since Wolverine is a variation of Batman.
Sure.
Who are the variations of Superman? Less exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, the best I can think of is Booster Gold, who is my favorite superhero.
Booster Gold?
Booster Gold is my favorite superhero.
But even Captain America is, well, it's sort of variation on both.
Yeah.
I think he comes from the Superman vein.
Definitely.
For sure.
But that's the Boy Scout leader. That's kind of that cookie cutter shape of Boy Scout. And that's not fun, like Cyclops. It's not fun, but that's what you need or everything falls apart.
Until they turn Cyclops into Batman. In the past 10 years.
Well, yes, that.
So it sounds like with the cultural impact, you two are telling a 6-year-old child who loves his Batman Legos he's wrong.
Yeah.
Yep. Grow up.
Yeah. Every day.
Wake up and smell the Superman.
Grow up, you crummy kid.
Get a job.
Don't forget to give, everybody. Don't forget to send your donations.
That's right.
Also, let's all bring back crummy.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we move to
I wish we would.
representation in the media?
Okay.
Let's take them each one at a
Batman.
time.
We did. We kind of covered that.
We're agreeing it's Batman. 100%.
That's the thing is like just like 1-to-1 comparison. It's Batman. Like
Hands down.
There have been so many good Batman movies.
Yeah.
Even its most ridiculous. The Adam West movie where it was just a cavalcade of ridiculous bad guys where it's just like, this is fun.
Yeah.
Like it's just hands down fun.
Yeah.
We
Like
could put Batman the Animated Series up against any quality.
Well, and it's what you were saying earlier. The most interesting Superman is not as interesting as portrayed in film or TV. Is not as interesting as the least interesting Batman.
yeah. I mean, the good Supermans are like Smallville and like the Donner movies. And like the thing is I feel like there was the really great old cartoon that was like really
The
angular.
Fleischer cartoons.
Yeah. Oh, I love those.
They're
But
fantastic.
like any movie made after like the Reeve Donner Supermans just never seemed to like, they didn't get it.
Yes.
I always felt like they were trying to make the Nolan Batman, but for Superman.
Right.
I will say, I actually enjoyed Bryan Singer's Superman. I think the story had problems, but I think
Brandon
his
Routh?
characterization.
I liked the style of it. Like the shooting style was good, but like you throw in like Super Baby and like
No, it was a bad
and stuff like that.
script, but I think it was, the character was good, and like, I think Singer understood that character.
yeah, definitely. I think it was probably overnoted.
But still,
was really what it felt like.
it's still not as good as any Batman.
Yeah, even the
So Batman wins this one easily.
I just want to ask one more question before we move off of this this
except for
measurement. Do you think that the best version of Batman in media is better than the best version of Superman in media? Do we all agree to that? Because I think the best version is probably the animated series from the 90s in terms of Batman.
Sure.
It's probably the best one. There's no
Or Michael Keaton.
version
Yeah.
of Superman.
Michael Keaton, the cinematic.
That is
If
good.
we're going live actions. I mean, we've already determined.
but that's the thing. Is like the best
Yeah, I
version
mean-
of Superman is like that's why he's so good in the Justice League,
Right.
Where it's just like, oh yeah, seeing him interact and be the leader, that's him. That's his thing, and that works so well in the modern day.
Yeah.
Where him on his own is like, okay, he wins.
Yeah,
every
he can make time go backward.
Yeah, he's gonna win.
With
We
just-
overpowered him.
when you put him in Justice League, is it just who's going to move the kryptonite away from Superman this time? He sort of said, "Aquaman, come on, just go throw it in the bottom of the Mariana
Use your
Trench."
ring.
Okay, so what else do we have here?
We have.
I mean, those
we
are
have
our-
battle, but that's easy. Superman. We talked about that.
Look, we've seen it
As one of the
time and
criteria.
again. Batman has kryptonite. He busts it out.
Here's the problem. Okay, so the
Superman
kryptonite thing has been
falls over.
overblown
Yes.
because it's just supposed to take his powers away, and somewhere along the line, it evolved into poison.
Right.
Instead of just like I'm a normal human man to like falling down in front of him, I would say that even Superman without his powers could still just shoot Batman in the face.
would never do that.
Well, neither would Batman though.
None of us
That's
have
the thing.
seen this
In order-
movie yet. This movie may just be Superman shooting
in order
Batman.
to
Even
stop
if he was.
Superman, he would have to kill him because eventually Superman would regain his powers. Like that's the thing. There's no prison you could put Superman
Not
in.
even a kryptonite prison?
No, because
right,
he's also
guys,
super smart.
guys,
Like that's the other
Superman
thing.
wins.
It's
He
like
is not super
he
smart.
is in fact super smart. He's compared to a supercomputer numerous times. Like he is.
I'd say he's rather clever.
Can I just say I love the idea of Superman with a small pearl-handled pistol
Yeah.
hidden under his belt,
Just a last
just in
minute
case.
errand,
Yeah.
you know?
You know what? Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe this is the time the kryptonite really takes effect. I've got to be able to defend myself. I've got a whistle and a gun, and I'm all equipped.
But it's also like it's not like he hasn't faced off against kryptonite before. That's every other issue. So it's like he's probably figured out a way around it at this point.
Also, Hal, if you've got the gun, you don't really need the whistle, right?
You don't know.
All right.
What if the gun
Red
misfires?
Superman gets the whistle, blue Superman gets the gun.
That's right.
Oh yeah, Hal eventually in a mini episode has to choose between Red Superman and Blue Superman.
Don't make
By
me do
himself.
it. Yeah,
Because I
refuse.
am not interested.
It's also
You and
important.
the listener.
It's also important to know Superman does have other weaknesses, like his own fingernails. Fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
His own super strong fingernails can cut him.
That's right.
demonstrated more than once.
More than one.
Yeah, because it's when
Who
they
went to that
it's
well?
usually used when he needs to take a blood sample for something that he like will use it to
What?
like cut himself.
I'm sorry, could you cite precedent? please?
I can't specifically, but I do know that it's
What
used
medium?
multiple times. I mean, it's comic books.
Oh, it was that one comic book where Superman had to wait 12 days to see if he had AIDS.
Well, he bit that bat, and he really wanted to find out if he had rabies.
There were a lot of very special comics in the
Yeah.
80s.
Oh.
There's a lot we had to learn. But yeah, and also I think getting punched a bunch is what Doomsday does. Just beats him to death.
Yeah, and he's got sharp horns on his like the claws.
Superman can't be drowned, right?
Correct. Because he can fly through space without a suit.
Right.
He doesn't
so he
breathe.
can just hang out underwater.
Yeah.
All right. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Just a sidebar. Aquaman related.
Yeah.
Before we come to our final decision, I just wanted to take another second to talk quickly about Max Fun Drive, and I forced Mark to leave the room so that I could be joined just by Travis McElroy, 6-year vet, and the reason why this show is on the Maximum Fun Network.
Well, you say that, but I would say a big part of it is that it's a great show, and you are a good friend of mine, and I really wanted you to be on the network.
Fair enough.
Because I like having my friends do the things I like with me. But yeah, it's the magical thing about the Maximum Fun Network is that because it is listener supported and because it's donor supported, we're constantly on the lookout, for good shows to add to it. We're constantly trying to grow the network. We're very active. Sometimes there are very passive shows or there are shows that are on a network because that's who hosts them. But the Max Fun Network is special because, we have a very active Facebook group, a very active Reddit, very active Twitter. Like everybody, we have the Max Fun Con. Like, we make it a family, and so it's always great when we get to add new shows like We Got This to the network. And I will say this because I am not you or Mark, and so I can make a bit more of a impassioned plea for your show. When we add new shows, we really need support for those shows. So if you've enjoyed We Got This and you like having them on the network and you either haven't donated yet or you've been a donor before and you've been looking for an excuse to upgrade your donation, this is the time to do it because we're not going to have another Max Fun Drive for a year. And this is the time to support the things that you love. Part of the thing that makes Max Fun special is it's all about enthusiastically, unashamedly supporting the things that you love. And if you love this show like I do, you should support it.
I was not prepared for how engaged the community, like the Max Fun listeners are everywhere.
It's amazing.
It's really been making new friends and finding new people to tell me that I'm wrong on social media, which I love. I love getting that feedback.
Every year when I have to talk about how great the listeners are, it's the easiest job I've ever had in the world. And I'm getting choked up now talking about it because I love our listeners and they support my family because of donations and because of them supporting the network. I'm able to create the things that they love and that I love doing. And so it's a very, very special thing. So, we talked about the pledge gift for 5, 10, 20, and 35.
Yes.
Where you get the bonus content, you get the bandanas, you get the adventure kit, and you get the thermos. Mm-hmm. And there are higher levels. The thing is, this is always too one of the things that I always go out of my way to say that we know that not everybody can give at the higher levels.
Sure.
Even if you can do 5, great. If you can't afford to do 5, I understand it. We've all been there.
Of course.
But if you can afford to do a little bit more, say you're 35, there's a secret $50 level for upgrade donors.
What?
For upgrade donors.
What?
And you still get all the rewards when you upgrade. So it's great. There's also a $100 level.
Yes.
Which seems like a lot. But it goes a long way to support the shows that you love, especially if you listen to all 24 of the Max Fun shows. But you get all that stuff we talked about before, and you become a member of the Culture Club, which means that once a month, one of the Max Fun content creators will pick some form of media.
Yes.
Maybe it's a movie or a book or an album, and you will get sent it.
Right.
It will be great.
We picked one recently. Should I tell what it is?
Sure.
It was a DVD of Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Only one of the greatest Christmas specials of all time.
Such a good one.
Muppets and music. It's pretty amazing.
I got to do one once, and it was a jazz fusion album that Griffin and Justin and I grew up listening to by a group called Buckshot LaFunk. And the album was Music Evolution, and it's really good. And we got to share that with you because that's part of what makes Max Fun, is it sharing the stuff that you like.
Yeah.
And so the highest level you can donate at is $200 a month, which, as I said, sounds like a lot.
Yes.
But you get all that stuff we talked about, and you get free registration to Max FunCon 2017.
Yes. And that's huge.
It's, 1, Max FunCon always sells out. 2, it's the most fun an adult can legally have. It's super great.
Yeah.
I've gone a couple times, and it's basically a weekend-long party, hangout with some of the coolest people, like-minded people who love the stuff that you love. Like, you can go from having lunch with Paul F. Tompkins to seeing a comedy show to having dinner with Maria Bamford. It's a really great experience, and you can do that if you donated $200 a month.
That's right. there's no place where you can go and have like this great summer camp experience, but also do like a trivia night run by John Hodgman.
Correct.
Which sounds like the scariest and most fun thing you can possibly do.
It gets crazy.
Yeah, we have a goal for this drive of 5,000 new or upgrading donors. And it's been going really well so far. Yeah. It's possible at this point we may have hit it already, and even if we have, it never hurts to keep adding to that total, because next year the goal is only going to be greater, and this is a really good chance to become a member of the Max Fun family. And here is how you do it. You go to MaximumFun.org/donate.
And the key, if I may, is to do it now, because you're listening to this and maybe you think, oh yeah, I'll totally do that later, and then it's going to slip right out of your head. And pretty soon, Max Fun Drive is going to be over, and you're going to miss your chance to get all of these amazing Max Fun Drive rewards. So do it now while you're thinking about it.
I don't want you to cry. I want you to go and set up your donation, whatever level you feel comfortable with. We've outlined a bunch of them over the course of the show. And then you fill out your credit card information. But the most important part is, for all the shows that you listen to on this network, you can check a box for each one, and those shows will benefit directly from the donation that you set up every month. And that's it. You don't have to think about it anymore unless you want to upgrade your donation in the middle of the year because you got a new job or you got the raise that you so greatly deserve. Or if you change your credit card. That's the only reason you really need to go back to the website. And you're all set. You get your gifts at whatever level you donate. And you become a part of my heart and Travis's heart and Mark's heart forever and ever more.
And don't miss out on the best part, which is as soon as you donate, you tweet at Hal, you tweet at Mark, and you say, I just became a donor to support We Got This, so they can say thank you.
That's right. And we're all going to say thank you until the drive ends, at which point we'll just be saying thank you when people are nice enough to say, I listened to the show and I enjoyed the show.
I'm going to run through 3 things real quick before we wrap up.
Real quick.
1, there's a Max Fun Meetup Day on the 22nd.
Yes.
We're trying to get them everywhere we can, so at local time, 7 p.m., go to MaximumFun.org/meetups and see if there's one near you. If there's not, you can email Stacey, STACEY, at MaximumFun.org and see about setting one up near you. On the 25th, to wrap up the Max Fun Drive, we're going to be doing a live streaming Jordan Jesse Go, so make sure to look for updates on that so you can watch it and enjoy it live from Max Fun HQ. And we have the challenge donors, which we mentioned before. For every new and upgrading donor, we have people who have committed to give a little bit more for those donations.
So you're ready to do it right now? So go do it right now. And we're going to wrap up this very important argument.
Well, yes, I do think he's more powerful than Aquaman. Do we want to also have that conversation?
Yeah.
I'm a big Aqua fan.
Okay, so it sounds like we didn't even make it.
Fan.
We didn't make it to the oh, no!
I think
Thank you. Good night.
we're done here.
First ever Erica Christensen reference in any podcast I've ever been a part of.
I wish that were true.
Okay, so it sounds like we laid out 3 criteria. There wasn't even a tie to even go towards. If it had gotten to Rogues Gallery, Batman would have won because the Joker.
Come on.
So
can you name 5 Superman villains?
Yes. Metallo, Lex Luthor, you've got Bizarro, Mr. Mxyzptlk, and then
not
there was
villains.
What?
Not Yiddish villains.
No, Mr. Mxyzptlk was a tiny. It was a tiny like pixie spirit, thing.
You don't have to tell me who Mr. Mxyzptlk is.
Mxyzptlk.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And then there was, it ended up being his brother, but it was, anyways, a fake guy who actually was weak against lead instead of,
but also,
it was Mon-El was his name.
Let me just throw in
remember
Brainiac.
No, and Brainiac.
This has been a smackdown.
It really was.
A pop culture smackdown fitting of the movie that you'll probably go see this weekend. But first, make sure you listen to this episode of this podcast and tell your friends to do the same.
Well, they've done that. That's how they're hearing you tell them to listen.
Listen,
put that at the beginning.
I don't understand.
Okay. We'll move that around.
I don't understand how time works or podcasts. I'm still figuring it out, Travis.
Okay.
But let me say this. People of the world, when you go to see Batman versus Superman in the theater, ruin the ending for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay? Just tell them, hey guys, I listened to We Got This with Mark and Hal. They had Travis McElroy and Ben Blacker on, and they already decided that Batman is better than Superman, okay?
Man, is that what we decided?
That's what we decided.
I thought I'd won.
You did.
It's sort of unceremonious.
Yeah, it was 2-1. It was 2-1, right? Cultural.
It was
impact
2-1.
Went to Superman.
Okay.
Superman is
in our hearts.
Yeah.
Well, I also voted for Batman for relatability, so I can't actually be mad about it.
You'll say to people in that theater, guys, Superman may have a lot of cultural impact, but Batman is so cool that he has supplanted the word cool.
Yep.
To
So
add
now,
Ben Blacker.
and it's also supplanted, not surplanted. I knew it when I said it, so nobody write
Planet
about
was
it.
my favorite rapper from like the 90s.
When you're listening to Sir Planet on the way home, you're going to have such a contented feeling.
Oh,
when
his
you
album
realize-
Seeds
Is
with
that-
the seed.
Yeah.
Germinate.
Of the two.
I thought that's who Superman was when he went back in time. Fought
Yeah.
Lancelot.
The better of the two is Batman. Batman wins, asked and answered by the first of our guests, Ben Blacker. Ben, thank you for joining us again.
Plugs!
Tell us
What are
your
we
plugs. Tell us.
Plugs. Give us
Where we
plugs.
can find
Yeah.
you.
Guys, I host a weekly podcast called The Writers Panel, which is on the Nerdist Network. I did an interview in January with David Goyer, who wrote both this Superman versus Batman movie
Very cool.
and the previous Batman movies with Christopher Nolan. And it was a really fun interview. It was interesting to hear his take on his movies, some of which I loved and some of which I did not love. And but he was a great guest and talked in depth about his process.
And that one is coming out.
That was out in January.
That was out in
So you can
January.
go find it right now.
Yes, I recommend
Great.
people go. If they're looking for a way into the Writers Panel podcast, that's a good one to listen to.
Yeah, if you have not heard Writers Panel, it is fantastic. Ben is as talented at moderating and interviewing people as he is at writing, which is saying a great deal.
I'll tell you what, we don't have a lot of crosstalk on my show.
Oh, yeah.
So it's boring.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
boring. Travis,
I host 8 shows. I will not go into all of them because there are far too many. But if you go to McElroyshows.com, you can find all of them, including the ones hosted by my brothers and some of our video stuff too. What I want to plug, 6 of those 8 are on MaximumFun.org. So what I want to
The
plug,
other 2 are Doug Loves Movies.
and WTF.
Yeah,
With Travis Ackroyd. I also want to plug the Max Fun Drive. It's going on now. I've got a bunch of shows on there, and it is through donations. I've been with Max Fun for going on 6 years now, so it's through donations and support from listeners like you that we were able to build the network. It's why we have shows like We Got This on the network. We were able to grow and add new shows that I do and add new shows that other people do and continue to grow thanks to listeners like you. So if you'd like to become a donor, go to MaximumFun.org/donate.
Thank you, Travis, and thank you, Ben. And there are many more topics to cover, so please reach out to us on Twitter at We Got This Tweets, or check out the Maximum Fun subreddit. There's an argument happening right now.
or why don't you already go to facebook.com/We Got This Podcast or email us at WeGotThisPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thank you to Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman for our score and our award-winning theme song, respectively.
And thank you to you, the listeners out there. I just want to say, we appreciate your helping us grow the audience for the show by rating us, by sharing, by participating in things like Max Fun Drive. It means the world to us. Thank you.
Thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
And for Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everyone. We got this.
I'm Batman.
I also got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Listener supported.